morning, everybody. Wow. Look at all these bright, fresh faces. We're off to a good start. So today we're going to talk about how to promote yourself as an expert. So what we said we were going to talk about today was how to promote yourself as a professional, but I decided to amp it up a little bit to an expert. How many people here consider themselves an expert? Okay. Or a leader in your industry. Good. Good stuff. All right. Well, I started Champion Studios in 1998, so going on 20 years now. Woo! And I really started as a copywriter, so a writer who writes advertising copy. And I quickly gained a reputation as creating content with sizzle, which is what the advertising agencies in town are really looking for. They want killer content. So a lot of my projects, there was a range of projects. I would work on anything from website content, marketing materials, advertising campaigns, and even some technical writing. As a matter of fact, one of the last big projects that I worked on for an ad agency was creating all the written content for an 80-page petrochemical website out of India. And they felt a little guilty when they handed the 3-ring binder over to me and pushed it across the table and said, "Okay, TL, you take all of that. Have fun with it." So if you want to know anything about ethanol, ask me. I know. Okay, so, but the great thing about working on those types of industrial, or really just all of the different campaigns that I worked on over time, is that I get a chance to learn about all these cool industries that are out there, and I just love learning all of that. So my business has really evolved over time, and about 7 years ago, I started a new division of my company where I work with professionals one-on-one, professionals like you, one-on-one, and helping you do what might be considered the hardest thing to do, and that's to promote yourselves and your businesses. And I love doing it to help you enhance your credibility as a leader in your industry. So I really do this in two ways. I have an event called BLISS, and BLISS stands for Business Leaders and Inspirational Speaker Series. Can I just see a show of hands? How many people have heard of the BLISS event? Okay, so there you go. And at BLISS, we set it up like a TED Talk. So there's black pipe and drape behind you, and we've got the video cameras rolling. We've got 3 different cameras for 3 different perspectives, including the audience reaction and that type of thing. And what that does is, I mean, if you think of somebody who you've seen speak at a TED Talk, and they speak on the survival of polar bears, you tend to think of them as an expert on their subject matter, correct? So that's what we do at BLISS, is we help you enhance your credibility in that way. We also help you write a book in the event that you want to write a memoir, novel, self-help book. We work with aspiring writers and authors on your favorite subject matter. So I'd actually like a show of hands for anybody here who finds that they have difficulty in promoting themselves and their businesses. Does it get a little difficult? And why do you think that is? Anybody, just shout something out. Why do you think it's difficult to promote yourself?
I have a hard time stating the obvious.
Okay. That you're awesome?
Yeah, that's obvious.
She has a hard time stating the obvious, that she's awesome.
Business, I'm licensed in 5 major lines of insurance, but it's like, well, to me, it's all obvious. But to somebody who's searching needs that keyword that clicks with them, and I'm just like, there it is.
Okay, all right. So very good. And I talk to professionals who have a hard time at it. I think of that arrogant kid on the playground who would climb to the top of the monkey bars and stand on there like he was king of the mountain, right? Everybody look at me, I'm king of the mountain. So it's sort of a bragging thing. So there's a line between, because we all know we need to promote ourselves as professionals. We know we need to do that. We want to build our businesses. But there's that fine line of, am I bragging? Is it arrogant? You don't want to come off the wrong way. So what I'm going to do for you today is give you a 4-part formula to help you accomplish that. And what I like to do is I like to create projects in a look over there kind of way, you know? Look at Bliss. Look at this. Look at this. So it sort of takes the attention off of me, and basically what I'm doing is sharing knowledge to help people. And that's really why we're all in business. That's what we're doing anyway. It's just sort of making that little bit of a shift in our minds, really, that's what it is. So I'm going to tell you the story about Peter. Does anybody here know Peter Desich? He's a writer in Cleveland. Okay, he's written for just about everything you can think of. Plain Dealer, that type of thing. And he's written several books over time. And Peter came to me a year or two ago and he said, you know what, TL? I've been working as a firefighter for years. Love what I do. It's time for me to retire. I've written several books and some of them have done quite well. And I just want to make the shift and promote myself as a speaker, as an author, and I'm not really sure how to get started. So one of the things he did was he spoke at Bliss because he wanted a promotional video. We created some website content for him, that type of thing. But it was really working on his mindset. And I said to him, we met for about, 3 or 4 meetings, and I said to him, Peter, do you know that you're a best-selling, award-winning author? And he said, no, I'm not. And I said, yes, you are. You told me that your book finished in the top 10 on Amazon in the history section, because he writes about Cleveland history. And he says, well, I was #1. And I said, then you're a best-selling author. You don't have to be on the New York Times bestseller list to be a best-selling author. There are other measurement tools out there, and Amazon has its own. And he's like, wow. And I said, and you also told me that you won an award at the Society of Professional Journalism. He goes, yeah, but that was 20 years ago. I'm like, so? It's still you, in your lifetime, award-winning article. You are an award-winning, best-selling author. And he was like, oh my gosh, I am. And I got to tell you, he walks with an extra little spring in his step to this day because, helped him get a little confidence going there. So we included a lot of that on his website and in his author notes, and about the author, we always talk about how he's an award-winning, best-selling author. And that's what I do for people. I interview people, I get down to it, I figure out what you might be missing, call it bragging, I help you brag a little bit, and find out some of those golden nuggets that put you ahead of the competition. We're going to talk about creating fresh content for your social media, including Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and your website. And we're going to raise your credibility in the marketplace as an expert, and talk about raising your credibility in the marketplace as an expert. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is hosting events. Has anybody here ever thought about hosting an event? Okay, about 5 or 6 people. And is anybody here actually hosting events now? 2, 3. Okay, good. So the great thing about hosting events is it propels you in the minds of other people as a leader. You go to an event, you want to know who's running this thing, right? And you hear about the person, what they're passionate about, why they put it together. So think about hosting an event and celebrating or promoting something that's near and dear to you. There are an awful lot of wonderful causes out there, and maybe you even have one of your own. So think about that. It puts you in a leadership role. And also, there's just plain old networking events. Does anybody here know about Network 52, which is run by Maria Giancola? It's a wonderful event. It happens every Thursday at noon. As a matter of fact, there will be one tomorrow. Nate, is it in Beechwood tomorrow?
Not actually sure.
Yeah, Don knows. It's in Beechwood tomorrow. It's with Aligned Health Centers, which is a chiropractic office, and Maria decided that she wanted to have a leadership role in having this event, and she does wonderful things in helping people connect. She has what I think is the secret sauce. She's figured it out. She makes it fun, she has positive energy, and when you walk out of that networking group, you can have 5 meetings lined up for the next week before you even leave in your phone. It's wonderful. She really has figured it out. And the other thing that events does is it helps create partnerships. Some of that collaboration that you're going to need as you're going forward in the community, in the business community. And, 2 databases is better than 1. So it helps you pulling those events together. Okay, and it's the second way, the second part of the formula is speaking to groups. And has anybody here ever heard of the term servant leadership? It's a little bit of a new term that's been floating around, I think, in the last year or two. And the concept is you're just basically talking to people in a way of how can I help? So if you're shy about speaking is actually not my favorite thing. I have to get out of my comfort zone a little bit, being the introvert that I am. And but if you take the focus off of you and basically how you're helping people on the topics that you're speaking on, then it does help you to get out there in front of people if you tend to be a little bit on the shy side. And something that you can think about in speaking is really what are some of your philosophies? Do you have a secret formula? Do you have a really cool story to share? And it's also an effective form of networking. There are 25 people in this room now. And if you were speaking to all of them, and maybe at the end you would get a couple of people to come up afterwards that want to talk to you, right? It's a little more effective than going to coffee with every one of those people for an hour and a half, shaking hands, doing the whole thing, and coming up with 1 or 2 or 3 people that want to work with you. So it's also an effective form of your time. And speaking also builds confidence on your way to becoming an expert. There are Dale Carnegie classes out there that you can take and help you polish your skills a little bit. Next, we're going to talk about developing a promotional video. And again, as I mentioned, this is something that we do. This is something that we do at Bliss. And Bliss stands for Business Leaders and Inspirational Speakers Series. And as I said, we build it like a TED Talk type of event. And you can certainly do this on your own. You don't have to have a promotional video at Bliss, but this is what I know. We build it in a certain way where we have a proven formula where there's a live audience we have 3 cameras, as I mentioned, and so we're filming the audience live, so we're showing that they're clapping in certain places and laughing in certain places and reacting to you as a speaker so that you can use this on social media or send it to potential prospects. We also have testimonials at the end, so that when people are all excited about hearing you talk, while they're still all excited about hearing you speak, we're getting those testimonials right away. We put those at the end. And then we also include quick edits and upbeat music just to keep it fast moving. And just some of the tips and tricks I would use for video, if you're thinking of doing your own, is, if you have a plain static backdrop, some of the things you can do to keep it quick moving or to just keep those edits moving back and forth to different people in the audience or the speaker, long shot, wide shot, close up, and that type of thing, just to keep it fast moving. And the other thing you can do in promoting yourself is to write a book. When you've read a book that somebody has written, you assume that they are an expert at their subject matter. So think about that topic that is passionate for you. You know, maybe it's personal. Maybe it's a personal story, a tragedy, a challenge, a triumph. Or maybe it's a professional. You've figured out, like I said with Maria, the secret sauce. You've figured out the best way to do something. It has 3, 4, 5 steps, and you know you're writing it to help other people through what they're going through. And the cool thing about writing a book, even on a professional level, is it can be either fiction or nonfiction. A lot of people think it has to be a true story, nonfiction true story, and it has to be about them, and they get these certain parameters in their mind. But it can be nonfiction in the way of a memoir, a self-help book, an autobiography, a how-to, that type of thing. But you can also write fiction. I've had business owners who are actually starting their own businesses based on a novel, a parable, something they've written. They've taken a character, a fictional character, and portrayed them in a certain way. Actually, I'll skip to the story climax formula. What they do with the story climax formula is you have a very obvious problem with your character at the beginning of your story, and then you ratchet up conflict and tension up to the climax. And the reason you do that is that you want to get the buy-in of the audience, and the reason people buy into it is they know what the character is motivated by. So how many people here have ever written a book or started to watch a movie, and about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes into it, you're like, you know what, I don't care how this ends. You know, I don't like the character, I don't know where the plot's going, I don't know what the storyline is. Has anybody ever had that happen to them? Okay, from the laughter, I guess we figured that out. The concept is you don't know what the character is motivated by. So what I do with the story climax formula, which is my own, is I help you to make it very clear what that problem is up front. And you can do this with a business book with case studies. You've got a case study up front and you're showing them, these are the problems our customers are having, and then you build up conflict and tension to the point of, and this is how we've solved the problem. So it's a really great formula to be able to use to show what you do, how you solve problems in your industry, and how you're helping people. So here's the bonus for the day. You can promote your business, which we've been talking about, and capture your story and leave a legacy by doing one or a combination of these things. So you're hosting events that you're passionate about, you're speaking to groups, you're developing a promotional video, writing a book, and now you have, this is becoming part of your legacy. I think as professionals, we spend years, even decades, working on our reputations. But what we don't always realize is that we're creating our legacies from day one. So I want to talk to you also about a client that I have by the name of Jeff Daniels. Jeff also retired. I worked with a lot of retirees apparently. Jeff Daniels also retired. He was a wealth expert, a financial expert. And he came into, let's see, I was teaching a workshop at Panera Great Northern. They were called the Right Here, Right Now workshops. I did that for years. And he came in one day and he said, TL, I really need your help. I've been working on my brother's book for 8 years now, and I am stuck. I don't know what to do. And he said, my brother has this great story. He has Parkinson's, and I want to be able to tell his story and honor his legacy, and I'd like to do it while he's still in pretty good health. So I said, tell me a little bit about your brother. Well, his brother, Terry Daniels, was a professional boxer back in the day. In fact, he either fought or sparred with the legendary greats, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Patterson, Joe Frazier, George Foreman. And so when I talked to Jeff, I realized that the golden nugget of the story was really telling it from the little brother's point of view, that was Jeff, to his real life hero, his brother Terry. So we worked on that together, and last year he published the book. It's called My Brother the Boxer, the Terry Daniels story. And then the following year we worked together and we wrote the screenplay. And the last time I talked to him, he was out in LA selling his screenplay to Hollywood producers. So this is how I help people, and I love what I do. I love what I do. I'm so lucky. So what I'm thinking of is what you might be overlooking in promoting yourself as a professional. I went to just a coffee meeting with a young lady in her 20s last week. And I looked on her business card, and for her title, she had social media expert. So I wanted to see if it would come out of her mouth, because a lot of us are shy about using the word expert or calling ourselves that, even thinking that about ourselves. So I said, "What is your title?" And she said, "Social media expert." And I believe her. She's in her 20s. She's probably been working on LinkedIn, Facebook for 5 to 10 years. But it's already in her mind. It's just a shift that she made rather quickly. But some of us, it takes a while. So I challenge, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I challenge all of you to make that shift, to start thinking of yourself as an expert if you don't already, and talk about yourself that way on your website, in social media, as a leader, whatever term you're more familiar with. And think about what you might be overlooking in promoting yourself as an expert. It might just be an easy shift in your mindset, but you're already helping people with sharing the knowledge that you have in your industry. So think about the 4-part formula that we talked about today. And once you get it in your mind, others will follow. But you will have to lead the way. Thank you.